on. I apologize to those of you that were waiting in the dining hall. We figured this would be a little easier location for everyone to sit, and we adjusted the lower school assembly stuff to accommodate that. So, wanted to just have an opportunity to introduce a couple people that will be on the college counseling team for this year. Obviously, everyone here received my email about the changes that are taking place. And so we wanted to, just at the earliest opportunity, be able to introduce you to the team that we have and some of the things that we are doing. So wanted to just touch on a few things that we have been trying to improve on as a school and in support of the college guidance process to hopefully simplify things for everyone and calm the nerves and fears for our parents that are either starting the process or probably in the middle of the process right now. One of those elements is that we recognized last year that we have a number of students that are going on to college with aspirations to play athletics in college. And so generally, our partnerships with the sports academies that we have, they handle kind of that aspect of the college process, and we handle the academic side, and between the two of us, it's a pretty good working process. But then we have our students who are not affiliated with a sports academy, that we always have 3 or 4 a year, maybe more, that also want to play sports, and they don't have a sports academy, so to speak, to help them through the athletic side of where to go, who's a good coach to talk to, and that kind of process. And so I want to introduce Ben to you, Mr. Kozik, right here. Come on up, Ben. He has come to us this year. He's going to help facilitate the questions that our athletes that do not have sports academies, their parents, in the process. He's been behind the scenes, so to speak. So in college, he has been a college coach for both basketball and football, and also a college recruiter. So he knows exactly what the recruiters are doing out there and how it works. And so he is going to be here to assist those students and their parents to say, okay, you should go, here's the network of coaches, here's, I'm probably stealing your thunder, aren't I, sir? Oh, let me talk.
Hey, John, my name is Ben Kozik. I've been started coaching in high school in 1998, and after I graduated in 2001, my first job was in football in 2002 at American International College, Division II school. From there I went to Holy Cross, Division I AA, and then from there I went to Syracuse University. I played at Syracuse University. After that, I became the athletic director at Southern Vermont College. I interned with the Indianapolis Colts, and then I went and was the wide receiver coach, special teams coordinator at Hamilton College, as well as an assistant basketball coach. So I've been in Division I, Division II, and Division III levels. There are different rules at every level, but at every level I did recruit. Recruiting is, when you get to college, it is a business. And there's a lot to learn, and the more you know as a parent, the easier the process will be for you. So I just wanted to give you a couple of things that I am knowledgeable in. So if you have questions, please come to me, and I'll be more than willing to help you out. The first is financial aid. If you have questions on that, if you have questions on scholarships, obviously this is Division I, Division II, Division III, not scholarships. The athletic admission system. Okay, some people think it's the same as the regular admission system. If you're an athlete, it may be a little different depending on which school you're looking at. The band system. So Division III schools have a band system that they use. There's A band, a B band, or a C band. They put you in different categories. What coaches look for athletically and academically. You may think your son is a D3 student, but he could be a D2. You may think he's D1 and maybe he's really D3. A lot of people look for money at Division I or Division II level, and sometimes Division III will actually give you more money based on your need than a $2,000 scholarship at Division II level. How to get in touch with a coach, and which coach to get in touch with. Sometimes people email the head coach or contact the head coach. The head coach has a million things going on. You may want to contact your position coach, or you may want to contact the recruiting coordinator. So who to contact, and then how to make a film. Do I send a game film? Do I send a highlight film? The difference between solicited and unsolicited film. I'm sending my film to the coach, but is he actually watching it? I'm putting it on Huddle, but is he actually watching it? I'm putting it online, and who's watching it? How often has it been watched? Which camps and showcases to attend over the summer. Obviously, if your son or daughter is a senior right now, showcases are done. Camps are done for your child. But if you're a junior or a rising junior, which ones to go to, where to spend your money, where to get the most exposure to these coaches without breaking the bank for you. And basically how to use your athleticism to your benefit to possibly get into colleges that you may have been borderline getting into, and just to open doors for you down the road. So I hope all those things, they're not over your head. But if you have questions on that, please do come see me. I'll be more than willing to help you. Thank you.
So again, that is something new that we're doing this year. 2 years ago, we started something new as well, which was adding a support piece to the ACT, SAT testing part of what our students have to face when they are preparing and applying for colleges. So Dr. Lawless has been with us for a couple years now, and we have been morphing that program each year based on the feedback we receive from our students and parents, and how we can best support that part of their college process. So I'm going to let Dr. Lawless handle it.
Thanks. So this is my third year. Good morning to everyone. I am an alumni admissions interviewer for Georgetown University. I also bring the knowledge of 3 different campuses of Georgetown, Columbia, and the University of Georgia, from where I retired just over 2 years ago. So I was on the faculty of their Institute of Government. And my higher degree, my PhD, is in adult learning. So those are all the things I bring to coach juniors and seniors. I also help with mock interviews and sometimes even good essays. No, if students ask me. So primarily working with juniors and seniors, but are we going to talk more specifically about what we're doing in a little bit? Yeah. So just the idea of recognizing that there are clearly strategies and ways that you can truly be successful with these tests, and helping every student just sort of find their place. And I work closely with the counselors as well as with the teachers to make sure we can help students get to where they want to go.
So if you are not familiar with the College Guidance Office, it is in the upper school building, of course, in the back hallway. It's kind of a small strip. So a new face that you're going to see back there as well is Christina Van Epp, who is the assistant in that back office that is helping pretty much everyone. And so as part of the college counseling office, she is there to assist and help with questions if you go in and want to save a message or ask questions. She's there as well. So you can come on down and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Christina Van Epp. My background is in higher education, so I worked for Georgetown University for a number of years as an academic counselor for first-year students. And one of my favorite parts of that job was being on the admissions side. So students kind of reach a threshold, and then there's an admissions committee that meets, and we read through all the applications to kind of figure out who would be a good fit. And I loved it because my background is in English and literature, and I taught writing as well. But I loved reading their stories and finding out what made these students tick, and to find out if they were a good fit. Because a lot of times students have, a certain school in mind, but it might not be the right one for them. And so I always loved hearing their stories. And as a on the other side, helping students kind of tell their own story. So that's my background. I've done a lot of editing, and as I said, I did some teaching as well. So I'm really happy to be on this side, and really happy to be here at Prep this year.
Well, most of our families probably already know Dina a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce Dina to you as well. Dina is part of the transition process for us right now, from being our full-time counselor to filling in this year in the transition to a new full-time counselor that we will introduce, of course. But Dina has been here a couple of years. She's been a big part of the process, a huge part of where we have come over the last 4 years, essentially, in the college guidance office. And so, for now, Dina has been very gracious in coming on board on a larger capacity than what she was previously scheduled to be on board for. So we appreciate that. And she will kind of explain to you that process if you want to come on down, Dina.
Good morning. So I see a lot of familiar faces here, and we've had some students because I'm supposed to be teaching this period. So I am here to help. Who's my senior parents? Okay. So pretty much nothing's going to change for you guys. So I will be here to finish the process with your children for this school year. And we're going to start with senior seminar. Senior seminar meets once a week, and it runs from now all the way until we leave for Christmas break. And I think I mentioned this before to senior parents and the junior parents. 95, sometimes 98% of the kids will be done by November 15th with their applications. So that gives us plenty of time, so there's no need to worry or stress out. We'll get everything done. I will be meeting with your children once a week, maybe even more than that. I will be here all day on Mondays. I'm here Thursday mornings, and we've already scheduled a couple of Sundays every month where the children can come in. You guys can come in if you want to too. Bring in donuts if you want some donuts. Bring your own coffee, and we're going to just get right to work. Looking at essays, working on applications, and then once Susan transitions in, we'll all work together, with scholarships and making decisions and things like that. So I'll still be around in the spring just to help Susan transition, and then obviously to keep the relationships I have with my seniors, and if they have any questions. We usually get into the discussions in late spring of, oh no, I got into all these colleges, which one should I pick? And I call that my boo-hoo problem. I go, too bad for you, you have all these wonderful schools to choose from. But they're important conversations to have, and since I've known them longer, I'm assuming they'll want to continue to have these conversations with me, so I will be here. So as we transition through, that's what the transition is going to look like. I'm also anticipating lots of phone calls and emails and texts and probably visits to my house from kids. Starbucks meetings like we've done in the past. So whatever your kids need, I'm here. They all know how to reach me. We're going to be on Remind 101. I know a few of you hooked up on that already. One of you did. And that's going to be a way for me and for Susan to, and I'll give you that information before we leave because you guys can be on the Remind 101. So that's how I harass the kids with deadlines. Like, this is due, this is due, this is due. We're doing this, meet me here, this has changed. Just so that we're all on the same page and getting the same information. I've also been communicating with them through Schoology. I'll try to, anytime I update Schoology, I'll try to put it on the update section so when you check your emails, it should show up on your updates. So just, if the kids, if you and your children utilize the times that I'm offering, everything's going to be perfectly fine. Like I said, I had kids all summer, emailing me, meeting me places, looking at essays. So I'm here. All they have to do is just call me, and I'm more than happy to have them over to my kitchen table, meet at Starbucks. We'll just get it done. And like I said, most of them will be finished with their applications by November 15th. That's the early, as some of you came to a meeting we had last spring, that's when the early action applications are due. So usually when those are due, your kids are pretty much done with everything, unless they decide to throw in an extra application here or there. And at that point, to be perfectly honest, they can do it themselves and just check in with me. Once they've been through 1 or 2 applications, they all kind of look the same. Their essays are done, we've looked through those, we've proofread them, so they just need to keep in touch with me about where they're applying so that I can send their paperwork. Their paperwork, 99% of the paperwork is sent electronically. So all they have to do is just text me and say, hey, Ms. P, I just sent off my application to Syracuse. Great. I just take out my phone, boop, 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 it's sent. So I can send it from my computer, from my phone. There's like a handful of schools that still want me to put it in an envelope and mail out. But we usually know those way ahead of time. So I don't want anybody to worry. I'm here for your kids. Usually till at least midnight on most deadline days. If anybody needs to text me last minute that they said that they just sent an application at 11:30 p.m. when it's due at 11:59, I'm good. So I usually keep my phone on, but it's happened before. But I'll be talking to them today and next week just about what everything's going to look like going forward, how to meet with me, how to get in touch with me, and really that they have 24-hour, 7 days a week access to me. So, and I want you guys to know that too. So whenever you need anything, all you have to do is just call me and I'm there. You got it, kids? Yeah, they got it. And then the transition.
So it kind of makes me cringe, but it also makes me smile when she says she's available 24/7. But Dina is one of those people that is there at all times for your kids and doesn't mind that phone call on a Saturday or Sunday.
They say mind.
Well,
I guess not, so.
She knows what she has to do. So that's part of you know the benefit that you have there. Now, as Dina mentioned, she's handling in large part the seniors that we have, and so there really should not be much of a difference in what we've been doing the last couple of years to this year. Our goal is so that there is no difference other than hopefully easier or better, right? But as you know, we have also worked with kids at all different age levels, grade levels, to prepare them for college, thinking about college, what to do to get their resume essentially ready for college. And that's a big part of the process that we usually kick into gear on a heavier workload, so to speak, once the seniors have finished their applications in large part. Then we switch gears entirely this school year into really focusing on the juniors, and the juniors doing what they need to do throughout the end of the winter and the spring and the summer, so that when they come back to school next year, they're there, they're ready, hopefully. So if you have a junior, that is kind of how that works. And then if you have a sophomore or a freshman on down the line, as we go through each year, we have those seminar classes that we work with all of our students to get them to start thinking about things and understand how it works. So as we make this transition, Susan is here. I will introduce. You can come up, Susan, if you like. Susan Bollinger. She is joining us. If you were in this room, then obviously you received our communications and my email that outlined your resume. So I'm not going to necessarily go through every line item of your resume. But needless to say, she is extremely qualified to be here and help with our students. And so the transition is that really, I think, as soon as you can find a home, they've already been searching, so if anyone has any recommendations, you can be there after. But as soon as they find a home to purchase, and they'll make the transition here. So hopefully that is sooner than later, but as we mentioned already, we have all our bases covered, no matter how this plays out. One of the items that I did share with you in my communication, coming from a large public school essentially, but seemingly very high achieving public school with the number of scholars that you have and perfect scores that you have on your testing. Her caseload essentially was around 500 students with some support staff. So I jokingly asked her what she was going to do with the other 7.5 hours of her day that she's here, because obviously we don't have nearly that many students going on to college every year. Which hopefully to you as parents, you will start to see the amount of effort and support that we're putting towards the college process that we're doing. So right here today, you met with 5 people who all have college experience as far as counseling or admissions or coaching or recruiting that are going to be supporting your students, your children. A dedicated full-time person, which I can tell you there is not another school in the area that has just one person dedicated to the college process. And we have one full-time person and 4 other people as well to support roughly 40, well actually this year is 51, I think is the count that I saw, 51 seniors. And then on that. So hopefully you can appreciate the amount of effort we're putting towards that. Now I'm going to hand it over to you.
So great. I'm Susan Bollinger, and I'm so glad to be here, and so excited about working with your young men and young women. My background is a lot of it is in Tennessee. I went to the University of Tennessee and got minors in business and economics and education, so I'm teacher certified. Then I worked in academic advising, where I was in the College of Arts and Sciences as an academic advisor for pre-health students as well as pre-law students, so I have college advising experience. My master's is from Vanderbilt, where I got my master's in higher ed. I worked as assistant director of admissions at the University of Tennessee, and then have an EDS in school counseling. This is what I do. This is my wheelhouse, is college counseling. I'm on advisory boards at 3 universities, Mercer and UT and MTSU. I've worked as a adjunct faculty member at Walter State Community College as well as the University of Tennessee, taught first year studies, and was a graduate assistant teaching at Vanderbilt, taught corporate culture and how that relates to the way you perceive things. So that's a little bit about my background. My strengths, I think, are scholarships. My last year's class had $38.5 million in scholarships, which we're very proud of, and that has gone up every year. And so my goal is each year's better. Each year, we try to make each year better in some ways for students. So there's lots of opportunities for that as well. My strengths are obviously in the college admissions process. We have close to usually 70 or 80 colleges and universities that come visit us each year. So we have lots of contacts with those colleges. I absolutely love what I do. I love working with juniors and seniors. I like freshmen and sophomores too, but I love that process of getting them to the next level. That is like I said, that is my joy. So I'm really looking forward to working with all of you and getting to know you better. And I can't believe I'm actually going to have an opportunity in seminar like to have all the students at one place and tell them stuff. I'm really excited about that. Use and remind. I know you've used ambiance in the past, so it's all going to be very familiar with that. But again, I'm just super excited to be here and look forward to working with you guys and the families.
Did everybody get handouts? Okay, if not, they're up here. We've given this out before for any new parents. One of them is just some of the colleges that are coming on campus the next month or so. I think we have about 20, which honestly we've never had before. Figures. So we're getting ready for those, and we also are having our college fair on September 12th. It's in the evening, so mark that on your calendars. There should be some more information coming out about that shortly, as I'm still finalizing the list, but we have about 25 that are in attendance already. It might be a little smaller this year only because of scheduling reasons. I usually schedule our college fair the night that Beaufort County has their college fair, but they're having their college fair in October when we have our homecoming or whatever pep rally thing, so we couldn't do it that day. So even if I always say this, oh, we're not going to have that many colleges in like 60. But right now we're at, like I said, 25. So if I get to 30 or 40, I'll be happy, in addition to the 20 that are coming in the fall. There are no repeaters. So your kids will have access to at least 50, 60 colleges this year. If they come to their meetings that we have outside the dining halls during break and lunch, and if they attend the college fair. Some colleges will come in the spring as well. So Susan will be on board with that, and I'll obviously be explaining to her how we do our college visits. Fun story, Susan and I actually met We met 2 years ago. She has a better memory than I do because I was like, I don't remember that. We met at High Point University. We were at a college counselor function at High Point, and I think we were sitting together at dinner at the steakhouse that they have there on campus that we were all very impressed about. That only kids are allowed to eat there, right? Is that it?
Right.
Yeah, and it's like
how to use
it's like a business meeting. It's like a lab almost, like a learning lab. But we had the pleasure of eating at the steakhouse. It was really good. But I remember talking to Susan. Now that I saw her this morning at breakfast, I'm like, oh, now I remember. And she was telling me how much she loved Hilton Head and that they always come down. And then I think I gave her my card and said, oh, call me, if you're ever in town, blah, blah, blah. So now I'm hoping that she's my neighbor. She did look at a couple houses down the block. So that would be fun. But some of these handouts, one of them is for 12th graders, what we'll be doing. But like I said, I'm going to be in constant contact with you guys, so if you have questions. I'm going to be sending out an email. I met most of you in the spring individually with your child. If you want to meet again this fall, just to kind of like finalize your plans. I'll probably pick, if you guys don't mind, a few evenings where we can come into school. I'll do like that sign-up genius like I did last year. And it might take me a little longer, but I'll just pick a couple of evenings where I'll come in from like 5 to 8, and I'll just kind of boom, 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 at least be able to give everybody like a half hour, just so that we can sit and finalize our plan. And you don't have to if you don't want to or can't. I just want to be able to offer that to you if you need it. And then Sherry, you have, you want to talk about the
schedule and the.
Yeah.
If you all just flip over that college fair sheet, you'll see the big schedule. And we made what I believe is a wonderful improvement this year. You can see at the top of it, there are some very early tests. Those are typically taken by seniors. So what we've done is I've made myself available primarily to them until that first ACT in September. So my schedule is basically open to any senior. They've been signing up. I've seen some of them. Some of them want one refresher. Some of them signed up to see me 2 or 3 times a week for the next few weeks. All that is good. So we will help them. Typically what happens, there are a few folks that perhaps haven't made their goal for their dream school. There are also students who sometimes are needing just a few more points to get more scholarship money. Okay? So please also do not be alarmed that occasionally there's someone that's maybe still taking an SAT in February, okay? As a senior. But how that typically happens is they're in, but the school is looking for just some improvement, and it might need more additional scholarship money, or the opportunity to be in a special program. We've had good results, increasing scores, and my goal is just to meet the students when they're motivated. And sometimes we have them. Some of you have juniors who might have even taken a prep course over the summer. Now, for the junior parents, after September 10th, we'll start making junior seminar a requirement. We will ask them to come during one study hall. That's going to be required that you show up, okay? And a good difference and improvement we made this year is the amount of times they're required to meet with me scales to how they perform, so that high performers can be done perhaps first semester, done with junior seminar, and anyone that really needs help can get it throughout the year. So the idea is we began this as a class. We moved to 1, 2, and 3 students last year. This year we're hoping if we could perhaps, I can meet with 1 or 2, with 3 together only occasionally. But my goal is just to meet with them when they're motivated, okay? But I will also be available to juniors and seniors for the entire year. Okay. The other thing you'll see on that list is we just do some because of course the PSAT for juniors is the beginning of National Merit Scholarship. That's their opportunity for that. But we're also have been offering pre-tests for freshmen and sophomores. So for that, what we're doing, and you can see on that, I think it's in October. Again, this idea of just in time. We'll meet to orient and introduce students to those pre-tests that are coming. So I think in the case of freshmen, they'll take the test 2 weeks later. In the case of the sophomores, it'll be basically a week later, just to orient them. It's a difficult thing sometimes to negotiate. I also always worry and am concerned. We don't want to fatigue anybody. We don't want you to hear somebody by junior spring to be sick of taking so many tests, and we want them to take it as they can be successful. People sometimes ask me when should they take it. There might be some students that might be ready to do November and December this year as juniors. They might be, okay? Typically, if they're not and haven't done much preparation, our thinking has been sort of February, March. We ask students to take both tests, and then I work with them to figure out which test is their test, okay? Because students clearly have got a test that's better, and what works better for their brain and how they learn. So I also typically do an assessment with them at the beginning, and we talk, and I just basically, like I said earlier, just try to find my way in. Try to find my way in with your child, truly believing that we can gain these tests. You really can. There really is a strategy, okay? So we're just waiting for the motivation and their schedule and their time and their willingness to put in the time to sort of come together. And I think it's happening, right?
And both Dina and Sherry are really accommodating with our academy students too. They may not have a study hall. So they'll work with those students to make sure that they get that one-on-one time also.
That's usually my service visits. For student parents, I'm going to give you the Remind 101 information. You want to take it down. I'll also email it out if you're here and you want to take it. So Remind 101 is a texting feature. It's an app, but it's also just a way, a weird number will pop up on your phone once we do it. It's a way for me and Susan to send group texts out, but when the kids respond, it's not a group text. It goes directly to me, so there's no privacy issues. It's just, I can text the kids individually that way, or I'm doing it as a group. And it's just a safer way, and then I have a record of the kids' questions, and then I can email them. It's a more educational, appropriate way to be texting, and a lot of educators use it. So I hope I always explain this wrong way, but so the number you're going to be calling or texting to is 81010, and then you have to text this message to that number. It's the @CG2FDK. It should like.
It's on the handout.
Oh, it's on the handout, I guess. Yeah. Oh, I didn't see that. There we go. Great. Just follow those instructions. If you have any problems with it, just let me know. but I can't live without it, right? It's great.
So, I just have to chuckle when you said when they're motivated. I'm still waiting for that moment in my son's life. We're just going to open up the floor for any questions you might have to anyone on our staff. So if you have any questions about where we are, what we're doing, obviously if you have a question about your own child that's specific, Dina's available 24/7. So, just kidding. So, yes, ma'am.
College visits impair for seniors only or juniors?
Juniors and seniors. Juniors are allowed 3 excused absences a year for college visits, and seniors are allowed 5 excused absences. But we encourage kids to go.
To people that come to the school and.
Definitely.
Right, and then if you want, I mean, you can go visit a college, right? I drag my 13-year-old with me all the time, and my 7-year-old, so. But I would say, like, if you're gonna be somewhere, even if you're not interested in that college, if there's a college around where you're going to visit, go visit that college, because it'll give you a good sense of what different campuses feel like, big schools, small schools, private schools, public schools, suburban schools, city schools, so the earlier the better, if you can swing it.
Yeah. For the visits themselves, we allow a certain number of excused visits. We encourage you to try not to miss school. It's funny how we have a lot of college visits that revolve around whatever the big game is going to be, which I doubt they're really getting towards the campus. So if you can do it at all when school is out, we have a lot of holidays and long weekends and things like that should work.
And the colleges that actually come to visit us happen any day of the week during our break or during our lunch period. And the kids will have, if they're outside the dining hall, you can't miss them, but then the college representatives sign up through a site called Prep Visits, and it's partnered with Naviance. So if your child is interested in a certain school and that college is coming to visit, it'll send them an email that this particular college is coming. But Bethany has also put it on the correct website of all the college visits, and we'll try to update that. And I just got 2 more last night, so we just try to update them as much as possible. But they should be on the school calendar and on the website and on Naviance. But usually the kids don't really look at Naviance until they're like spring of their 11th grade. So as a parent, you just might want to check the calendar. But they'll be there at lunchtime, and the kids can't miss them.
Can I just add that it is really good to make that first contact with these folks that come to our campus, because that's often the first reader in your file. So making that, if they come to Hilton Head Prep, you want your kid to be talking to them at Hilton Head Prep, because that, again, that's some of the local colleges look at demonstrated interest, and so you want to make sure that they are making those contacts.
And just to give a little perspective, when I first got here, there were a handful, maybe, of schools that were coming on campus. And now I have 25 coming in the next month and a half. So you're making ourselves known in places that they know who we were not too long ago. So that's how I know I'm doing a pretty good job, is that schools are asking to come and see us. That means that they're interested in seeing our kids, learning more about our kids. So that's a good thing. So if they're coming and spending their time to come here and come into the college fair, that's a big deal. And I need your help. We need your help to get your kids to go see them. Because if they're standing there outside the dining hall and nobody's stopping by to see them, they're gonna be like, oh, well, I might not come back next year. So really encourage your kids to go. I usually drag a few out to the dining room, so just so that they have some interaction with kids.
The mention of demonstrated interest.
Right.
We're gonna do a couple things over the course of the year. We do every year where our parents and students get an opportunity to kind of see what the strategies are in the universities and colleges of how they go over the applications and their games that they play and their acceptance rates versus the kids that actually go there and their numbers. So when you're talking about demonstrated interest, if you have two students that are the same exact student on paper, and one has visited the college and the other has not, they're going to take the one most likely that visited the school, because that shows that you had enough interest that you actually went out of your way to go visit the school, which means you have a higher likelihood of going there than the kid that didn't even visit. So things like that happen, we try and educate everyone on that. So I think you had a question?
So when you study outside like the cafeteria, is it in addition to the seminars?
Oh, you have a senior seminar class that I will teach, and that's with the kids, just me, and we're just getting stuff done. Essays and applications, and I'm checking in with everybody, making sure we're all on the same page. The college visits are something that happens in another.
But when you're set outside, so you're going to be sitting outside certain days throughout the
The college, the admissions counselors come,
When they're representatives of the campus,
Yeah,
we set
the
up a
admissions
table.
officers will come and set up and be there to talk to the kids and answer questions.
I assume that when you go visit a college, you need to make an appointment, and how's that whole thing?
So you'll get a much better tour to do, and I would encourage you, if you call a couple weeks ahead, if they're interested in business, or they're interested in the honors program, or financial aid, I always say stop by financial aid too. You call in advance, most of them have it online now, you can request it, but if you call in advance, you're gonna have a much better tour than if you just show up.
And then also that's where the demonstrated interest comes in. They'll know if you're interested when you sign up for a tour, so they'll have you in their books, and then that also prompts them to send out reminders about application due dates, you're in their queue. Colleges also have this, I don't know what you call it, but they can tell if you've read an email that they sent out or advertisements. They kind of track who's opening and looking at their stuff. And that's something that we'll go over in senior seminar.
If you're-
Don't check their emails.
If you're organized enough to know in advance that you want to visit, then definitely schedule a tour. If, like we've been driving across the country somewhere, going to something, and on a whim, we're like, oh, I didn't realize we were that close, and we'll just cool off and drive through. So at a minimum, you still want to go into the admissions office and at least sign their guest book, so that they know that you've been there, and then you're in their system at that point.
Like I'm a senior too. So we're going to Clemson on the 22nd, it's a Saturday. Now, when I was looking to plan, Clemson is the only, we were going to look at Clemson and USC. USC doesn't offer tours on the weekends, but Clemson does. So we're going to go see Clemson in the morning on Saturday for an official tour. Then we're going to drive to USC, log into their admissions office and do a self-guided tour. So at least you're there, you're checked in, and then we're going to go on a walking tour ourselves. So you can plan like that. So colleges won't have tours on the weekends. And sometimes they do, but they're blocked off because it's an open house or it's whatever. So you really do need to plan at least a month in advance. Because a lot, like I wanted to go on the 1:30 tour at Clemson. The other option is 9 o'clock in the morning. There's a football game the night before. So, but the 1:30 was done already. We booked this a month ago. So that if they book up quickly, so now I'm going to the 9 o'clock one.
Good.
Just because it had to do with demonstrating interest. If they've already done the visit, is there another step to show even more demonstration?
Right.
All ask them questions that they have.
We usually, calling's interesting because sometimes you'll get an intern or an assistant on the phone. We have a list of contacts in our office of certain admissions counselors for our region, and the kids can email them. There are some schools that are more friendly with that than others. So we'll be going over that in senior seminar. And then what I usually encourage the kids to do is show me the email that they're going to send out first. I look it over and then I tell them it's okay to send.
Yo.
Yeah.
Along the same line, a little tidbit that I was able to pick up when we had the admissions counselors on our campus. and they would share. Now, every school's a little bit different. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, but the ones that particular year that were here they got a pretty good chuckle, but they were also serious about it. That they love when a student calls or emails and shows interest or asks questions. But when mom and dad do that, it's not so good apparently. So if at all possible, try and help your child lead the process and you help from behind the scenes as much as possible.
Showing the child advocate for themselves.
Yeah.
That's what they're gonna be doing.
Yeah. Any other?
I have a quick question. For the sports academy kids, I have a junior. Is there a possible way that we can get a schedule of the junior seminars so that if possible, I can have one kids practice in order to attend that?
Well, the junior seminars will be scheduled for her.
They'll work around her schedule.
Work around.
He'll work right her schedule.
So I don't have it fixed.
And then if it doesn't fit in her
Well, it
schedule,
will be
then she'll contact you to schedule a different time. Let me try to make it fit for them during
The concept between the seminar classes was that we were trying to do as much as we could when the students are here on campus and not have extra things going on nights and weekends and all of that. So the seminars, the concept behind it is that we want to make life easier so you don't have to skip your practices or give up weekends. And then also it's basically one-on-one time with our college staff to make sure that we're doing what needs to be done. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I guess I do have a quick question. And I can you, Dr. Wallace. If I have a ride for a junior this year and she hasn't done an SAT or an ACT yet, she did the PSAT, should I go ahead and just sign her up for an ACT just to see where she lands, old, or wait till they've done some preparation?
I would wait. I would recommend that you wait until we do some preparation. So one of the things I do is help them do, in my rubric now, I have practice tests. So at the minimum, I'm asking folks to do 2 ACTs and 2 SATs.
Okay.
And that gives me a feel. And I'd rather that you have a little bit of preparation. The other thing is, depending on where you are in mathematics, it might be a way reach back to 8th grade. It might be we're waiting. We don't even have the concept yet.
And
So-
one of the downsides of testing too early is if you're not ready, you don't score well. Then later on, if you want a super score, which means it's required that you send all of your scores so that the school can then take your highest and combine them. If you have that one that you didn't do so well on, you can kind of force to send it. So we really don't, not that we don't like, but we don't suggest that we don't recommend that they take it unless they've had some exposure, some practice, how did you do on a practice exam? Just the reason why this works, and I love Dr. Wallace, and we always say this, we don't have magic wands or magic potions or, tricks that nobody else knows in the world. It's about exposure, practice, and individualization, right? So until your child gets that, I wouldn't have them take it because it might work to their disadvantage. Right? And that's how we do it's a little frustrating sometimes when we do the workshops with the 9th and 10th graders because they're looking at us like, are you guys crazy? Why are we doing this now? And I'm like, well, it's practice. And because we go over like the strategies, this is the test, this is how many questions, this is what it's going to be like, you're going to be sitting and we want them to take the practice test seriously, right? And just last year it was so funny, the 9th graders were just like, you gotta be kidding me. But it works because just that little exposure and a little bit of practice, it comes a long way, so.
Will the juniors practice before the SAT on October 24th?
They did, they have already. If you Charles here last year?
No, it was not.
A junior will they have any practice before? Yeah, they will have junior seminar.
Yeah.
Okay, because he wasn't here last year, so.
Right, and I typically, it's just one orientation meeting for 9th and 10th graders, so all my work is with you.
Okay, so, okay.
Right, we
So
could
that will help
you could have them come in and see us, we can give them a practice exam, you can take it home and just look at it.
But they'll be signed up after the middle of September, so.
Right, so they'll
Probably
have a
enough
few days.
5 times.
Are there any other questions at this time? Well, I just want to say such a big thank you to Dina, because when I was celebrating my anniversary in Savannah with my husband and looked at my email and found out that we were without a college guidance person, my husband first of all was, why are you looking at your email? And then I said, I gotta call Dina. So I called Dina and she said, would you just calm down? Whatever you guys need, I will do. And we have put together such an amazing team with Sherry and Christina and Ben and Dina and welcoming Susan in, that I think your students are in better hands than they've ever been in this area. So, thank you. If you have any additional questions, feel free to ask those on the way out. If you ever want to meet with any of us one-on-one, we're available for that too. Thank you and have a great day.